Hey squad, what's going on? Rich Ryan here. Today we are talking about walking lunges for Hyrox. At first the station might seem self-explanatory, but stick around. I'm going to give you 3 key tips to make this station less terrible. It's probably still going to be pretty terrible, but maybe you'll finish a little bit faster with these tips. But before we get into it, if you are interested in Hyrox and DecaFit style training, tips, tricks, ways to develop your energy systems, how to be better at these events, make sure to hit me with subscribe so you can get all the newest content directly to your feed. And take a look at the 12-week DecaFit and Hyrox training programs down below, or if you're interested in more of an ongoing style of training, the Hyrox training group. Okay, so let's get into it. So the first tip here is to take the weight and put it on your back as opposed to your shoulders. As you come into the walking lunge, you put that weight on your shoulders. Initially, it's going to feel light. It's going to feel easy, and you put it on your shoulders, and it just seems to be the most common place to put it. However, as you start to go through the station, that weight is continually going to press down on your skeletal system and your diaphragm. So eventually, it's going to feel a lot harder to breathe and to move through the station. Also, as that weight gets on your shoulders, there is a tendency for that weight to push in front of you, which at first might seem okay, but as you're walking through, the weight will pull you down as you start to go up. A lot of times I'll see athletes do what was more of a short good morning out of the hole in the lunge. So they hit the ground and their butt comes up first, and then they have to kind of bring their back up to become upright. So again, your diaphragm and your airway is down when the bag is going to pull you forward, and it's going to put a lot more stress on your lower back, as you are going to have to continually do a small lift with your lower back each and every rep. So if your lower back is blowing up during the walking lunges, it could be because of the position of the bag and it's pulling you forward. A more advantageous position for this bag is to be more on the center of your mid back. So you're going to have to slide the weight back even further. So it's going to open up your chest quite a bit, and it's going to kind of sit below your shoulders, and your hands are going to be on the handles. So this might seem a little bit less advantageous to start, but as you begin, because your torso is going to be tilted forward, the bag's going to be directly over your hips. Where if it's up on your shoulders, again, it's going to be in front of your hips. You want that weight to be in line with the strongest part of your body, which is going to be your glutes and your hips, to make it easier to move through that weight. The main hiccup with the low bar position for the walking lunge is that your hands and your forearms are going to have a little bit more restricted blood flow, as you're going to be positioned way back here as opposed to up here. So during this station, you might start to feel a little bit of fatigue in your hands and forearms, which at this point is more of an annoyance than anything. You don't really need your grip for anything coming forward. So you have the option to let go of each hand and walk through, and because it's in a good position, it should stay there. Or you could just suck it up. You don't need your grip for the rest of it. It's just going to burn a little bit. It's going to take your mind away from what you're doing, but it's not going to challenge the rest of the race. The second tip is your breathing patterns during the walking lunges. So during this part of the race, your breathing should have already kind of settled into a consistent flow. Your respiration rate really shouldn't peak until probably the wall balls, or right thereafter, or the run going into it, or probably right in the beginning. Like if your respiration rate gets up high in those first 2 stations, you're going to want to kind of settle things in. But as the 7th station, you should probably be at a pretty steady state, or you found the steady state. So you really shouldn't be breathing too out of control at this point. So keeping that in mind during the walking lunges, and making sure you don't let that respiration rate get elevated and out of control. So I would recommend that you really try to create a rhythm with each step that you're taking, and matching it with a specific breath. So I would recommend breathing in as you're going down and breathing out as you're coming up, or some sort of pattern that way. If you 2 breaths in on the way, like 2 breaths for each step or something, if your respiration rate is naturally just a little bit higher, but making sure that it is consistent and it is patterned. I would want the breathing in to happen on the way down so that you can expand through your diaphragm, and so you can create a little bit more abdominal pressure through the movement to create a more supportive platform in your core. But what we want to avoid is holding our breath. We often, when we're doing a heavier lift, we want to breathe in hold it and go to the bottom and come out, and that's just going to cause a lot more up and down kind of breathing, and it's going to restrict blood flow as we're holding our breath and really engaging through our core. We want to breathe through this movement, not necessarily brace for this movement. The weight isn't that heavy. It is a hard position. It's a hard part of the race to do this type of activity in general, but it's not heavy. We don't need to brace for every single time, every single rep up and down. So making sure your breathing is going to be really helpful on this, and breathing out as you're going down will create a little bit more abdominal pressure without needing to breathe in and hold and Valsalva maneuver through every single rep. That'll just create a lot of disoriented breathing, and you'll probably won't be able to hold that for very long, and then your respiration rate will get elevated. It'll send all those fatigue signals to you, and you'll probably slow down. So taking a breath in as you are going down and out as you are coming up. The third tip is to have varying step cadences throughout this station. Ideally, you'd be able to step through each and every rep, and that will just be the fastest way to get it through. But at a certain point, there might be some of that kind of lactic burn that you're going to feel in your legs that is going to kind of send a fatigue signal to you, and it'll make you want to stop. This station isn't necessarily about who is lunging the fastest, it's about who's resting the least. And a long break during the stations is an absolute time killer. And this late in the race, it could be a mentality killer as well. So you want to make sure you continue to move through each and every rep, whether that is stepping all the way through, or if that fatigue starts to come in, matching your steps in the middle. This is going to give you a slight reprieve up from the constant eccentric lowering and concentric rising that you might not feel that burn. So matching your steps in between at strategic points as you start to feel your legs filling up or your legs burning is a great way to keep moving without needing to go as fast as possible. So this is a physical strategy as much as a mental strategy. You want to make sure that as that feeling starts to settle in, that you know that nothing bad is going to happen as you continue to push through the lunges. Every lunge you can keep doing those lunges as you go through, but it's a matter of pushing back against that fatigue signal and knowing that you're going to be okay as you move through. So in training, you're going to want to do a lot of walking lunges and just to kind of build that resilience, to build that muscular endurance. That's the main part of this. But during the actual event, these strategies will help you become a little bit more efficient so that you can keep moving throughout the entire station and get to that next run, because this race is almost over at this point. So you really need to buckle down and just know that it's going to suck. There's no way around it. These tips are going to help you, but they're not going to make this station not suck. So you just buckle up and be ready for it to really be uncomfortable, but that's all it is. It's just discomfort, and it will be worth it when you get through this station. So I hope these 3 tips were helpful for you. If you like this type of content, hit me with a like, share this with your friends, hit me with a subscribe, and again, take a look at the training plans down below if you want this training done for you. You can do the 12-week programs or the group coaching, which is an ongoing progression. A lot of high-level athletes in there who are doing a lot of good work. So these programs are hard. So if you are up for a hard task like a Hyrox, you should be up for hard training as well. So take a look at the programs down below, and I'll talk to you next.